Hello, I'm Jeremy, and today I wanted to talk about racism, white liberals. Came across this picture here. Is this how white liberals feel? That they have to fight for minorities because the minorities are too dumb to fight for themselves? I don't know what this is. I think this might be Game of Thrones. I haven't watched it, but I think she's like one of the main characters. So she's one of the leaders of one of the houses. It's not Stark, I know that much. Tyrell, I don't know. Anyways, I wanted to talk about this because I enjoy Tim Pool. He does a lot of content, so it's kind of easy to work with what he's going and what he's done here. The title of the video, Space Force Officer Fired for Saying Marxism is Taking Over U.S. Military, hits #1 book on Amazon. So the guy says all this stuff. He wrote a book, and because he got fired, his book became #1 on Amazon. And Tim just, he's does a good job of calling out the garbage reporting that the media does, CNN, all their ilk. Wanted to expand on it. Have over here in the top, I don't know which side you're seeing it on. For me, it's the top left corner. I don't know if it's the right for you or not. It's above me right here. And this is just a simple little notepad where we're going to talk about racism, because something that the left seems to be doing is redefining words. An example of this would be rape. I've seen it in some circumstances or in some stories where coming up and touching someone on a shoulder is now rape. What was it? That girl in New York who went walking around talking about sexual harassment, and guys did nothing but sexually harass her, and there were literally tons of guys who just said hi, hello, how are you, just trying to talk, and all she did was just act like like a butt, and just ignored them and called them all sexist pigs or something along those lines. And it's like, no, they're not. Of course they're going to say hi to you. How else are they supposed to introduce themselves to someone if they don't come up and say something? Did any of them do anything inappropriate? It's like, no, not at all. Not one of them. Did they do some, were there some that did a few things that were a little weird? I watched a little bit of it, and there were a few guys that followed her for a little while, and it's like, yeah, I could see how you might think that's weird, but for others, the world does not revolve around one person. And for some girls, they like being followed. They like having that attention. They like this notion that I am so beautiful and so irresistible that men can't control themselves with me. Those girls are out there, 100%. I've met my fair share of them. That doesn't mean all girls want that or like that. And it means the same in reverse. That all girls don't like being followed. That it's like, no, you can back off. But you don't know. Guys aren't mind readers. But the left wants to redefine words. And so that's why we're doing this here. And so we're talking about racism. And this, again, I have this on all of these, is that this is not about changing anybody's minds. This is just about showing lies. And I don't care if they're intentional or not. And one of the things that I've talked about in that last video was that help me fill this out. Whenever I do these videos and I have this up, look over this stuff. What are some facts that you think that need to be in here? Are there studies? Are there questions such as questions that the left have or the right have that seem to be coming up repeatedly that we need to put an answer to, because it's like, yeah, this is the answer. It's pretty obvious. Or maybe stupid responses. Yeah. So questions, maybe you don't know, but stupid responses is that whenever they respond to something and it's like, no, that's absolutely wrong, and so here's a response to it. I don't want people's feelings off of this stuff. You are going to have to provide some kind of somewhat credible source to help back it up, because that's something that these really far-fringed left lunatics like to do, is that they just go off of their feelings. It's like your feelings don't make anything right at all. And then occurrences. So an occurrence with this would be, I'm just going to use the date on the video for Tim Pool here for I'm just going to do the whole thing.
Problems.
So occurrences. Well, I guess there was. I should have just done this out. What is this guy's name? Time is 9:12. Are there any occurrences that you can think of that should be on here?
Stuff is rooted in Marxism. Now, we're criticizing to that, meaning overall loss of confidence.
I'm going to put it on pause. It's taking a little longer than I wanted. All right, so I just put May. I don't care about the date, because I saw in the article that they had the 15th. So an occurrence, Space Force Officer Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Lomer in May 2021. And what he's done is that he wrote a book talking about what's going on in the military, and he feels like there's this Marxism takeover because of this critical race theory. These people who are proclaiming to not be racist. So I took a look at, well, what is racism specifically? So I went to Wikipedia. I just did a copy and paste. Are there any other definitions that you think should also be along with racism, such as critical theory? Put that down in the comments sections below. I'll take a look at it, because I don't see why this would be the only thing that we need, or at least perhaps it could go under relevant topics. Updated, I'll probably get rid of that. I don't think I'm going to do that. But, and this isn't everything. This is just a rude, crude way of how the website that I'm building is going to work. So before we get any further into it, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, thumbs up, whatever. I've got Patreon and Subscribestar, and that'll help me out a lot, because I got to hire more people. Even though you may not agree with YouTube and the way that they kind of do things, it's what I have right now. So I would greatly appreciate all that, because it's just going to make things move faster the sooner we all get this done. So racism, the definition that they have, is the belief that groups of humans possess different behavioral traits corresponding to physical appearance and can be divided based on the superiority of one race over another. It may also mean prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against other people because they are of different ethnicity. Modern variants of racism are often based in social perceptions of biological differences between peoples. These views can take the form of social actions, practices, or beliefs or political systems in which different races are ranked as inherently superior or inferior to others based on presumed shared inherent traits, abilities, or qualities. It's like, yes. So, in a nutshell, what this is saying is that racism is whenever you're looking at one group of people based off of characteristics that they have no control over. So you have no control over the color of your skin. You have no control over where you were born, of what nation or what state. Even you have no control of it at all. There's nothing that you can do to change it. The focus that I 100% wholeheartedly believe in are what are your values? And those values are the things that you do whenever you act out your life. It's not what you make the proclamation of believing, but what do you actually do? And I see that all the time. People say, for example, yeah, I really care about my health and I understand all that, but then they don't exercise and they have horrible diets. It's like, well, they've said one thing, but they've done something else. So specifically, what is that? That's a lie. Whether if it's intentional or not, maybe it is something that they are really interested in, but for whatever reasons, they just, I don't know. So take a look at all this over here, and is there anything that you see that needs to be added to it? Racism is going to come up again. All these topics, the reason why I'm doing these specific topics is because I've seen these come up multiple times, and I don't see them dying off anytime soon. But I'm not going to let the left or the right or anybody continue to tell me what racism is or is not. Screw that. I know what it is. And you're not going to change it from under my feet and screw with me. No. So I wanted to talk about, should he have been fired for writing this book? And the answer is no, absolutely not. And it's because he wasn't talking about military tactics. He wasn't talking about the deployment of troops or assets or anything along those lines. He was talking about the structure and the command and their mindset as to what's going on. And it's like, should people in the military be allowed to voice their concerns and their opinions about that? And the answer, I think, is 100% absolutely. I want to know what the hell it is that they're doing. Because if they're doing anything messed up, I want them to be held accountable. I want to know about it all. Now, of course, top secret maneuvers and documentation and top secret equipment and stuff like that, yeah, that's different. But that's not what we're talking about here. If they're doing something messed up, I think that every single U.S. citizen has the right to know about it. And you could even make the argument, perhaps, that other nations need to know what's going on, too. Maybe not, but I don't see how you could keep those two separate. And if they're talking about all of this, well, we're going to do this extra training to teach people that white people, or any race for that example, are just evil. It's like, well, I want to know about that nonsense. So he starts off fairly early in the video talking about how there's been a move to get rid of these Republican views personnel in the military for having like Gadsden flags, and I guess what they were talking about and doing, and that they were removing them with some kind of claims about being racist of some kind or extremists or whatever. And it's just absolutely dumb trash. It's like, of course they're there. They've always been there. So a little background is that I was in the Army. I was a 19 Delta Cavalry Scout. I did my training at Fort Knox, Kentucky. I was stationed in Budigan, Germany, and I was deployed to Bosnia. And during my time there, it's like, yeah, we had every color sunshine person there that you could imagine. Left, right, center, all of it. We had people from other nations. There was a guy that I served with, and he was from China. Mao, I don't remember. I think that was his last name. I don't remember his first name because we called everyone by their last names. Nice guy, liked him, didn't have any problems with him. We were friends, hung out a little bit. But they had all this stuff, and so I've talked about this before. Is just because you go through the police academy or you go through military training, none of that stuff is designed to change your political views, your personal values, your ethics. None of that stuff. So if you were a piece of trash before you went in, you're still a piece of trash afterwards. I knew plenty of people who were in the military and they were good people. Uh, Plenty who were smart, stupid, a-holes, you name it. Going through training didn't change them with any of that stuff. And that's why you can find police officers out there where, yeah, they're great people. And you can also find police officers who are absolute garbage. They're people. Not that. So all this stuff about, well, partisan views and left and right and all this stuff, it's always been there. People have never been excluded for that stuff, and nor should they. You know, if they're there because they want to defend their country or they need it just to have a job, so what? Who cares? They're just soldiers. They're grunts. They take their orders from the Pentagon. They don't make any decisions at all. They carry out the orders. So it's just virtue signaling. These people lost their jobs and their livelihood because somebody decided to stand on their backs and crush them down to make an example out of them for nothing. They just screwed over people's lives, because I'm telling you right now, they were there whenever I was there, well before I was there, and so what? They had no power to do anything. And I love this little bit. Tim Pool doing what he does best. Here he is at the Daily Beast and talking about how in their title that he is a conspiracy theorist and that he was fired, and that they linked to military.com, which was the other site that he was to. And it's like military.com didn't make this accusation at all. They just made it up. They just lied. Lies, 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 lies. Screw them all and their lies. Then he pulls up another site, and then he goes to Wikipedia to look up critical theory. And I'm not a fan of Wikipedia either, because they have their issues, and they have real bad issues. Well, one of them is that just about anybody can post on, and there's no accountability for these people for what they post. And if they do have like committees who review all this stuff, and the committee doesn't like it, then they just go in and they just change it. And I think they can even keep people from going on there and posting anymore. It's like everything about that is absolutely wrong. I have a different system where it's going to be completely different. It's like this isn't gonna, no, it's not gonna fly at all with me. I want evidence, I want facts, I want truths, and I know exactly how to do it. And it's not like it's difficult whenever this is going to be my stupid competition. It's like I'm going to blow it all out of the water. I'm telling you right now, you are watching the beginnings of something great happening right here with me. And it's not something that I can do alone. This is something that we will do together. We're going to fight through this side by side. I guess I'm going to have to take the lead in all this, but that's fine, I guess. Don't want to, but somebody's got to, so whatever. But he does, one of the things that Tim does is that he talks about how there's this encroachment of Marxist theory, and that they're all planning on doing this, and the takeover of our institution by Marxism. I don't think it's that sophisticated at all. I think it's just a bunch of idiots all over the place who are kind of screaming and yelling. It's not to say that the result can't be the same where it does happen and all this nonsense occurs, but people are just too dumb. They're just too dumb. So what I mean is that I don't think that there's any kind of global or national conspiracy going on. It's like if you want to tell me something like Mark Zuckerberg is doing something within Facebook, it's like, yeah, I'll swallow that pill a lot easier than, oh, well, there's this big conspiracy to taking over all the U.S. government institutions and all the schools and whatever. It's like, no, that's just too much. But are there people within the schools, is there like the president of some college or university out there who's kind of doing this, and they're kind of trapped in this little echo chamber, something along that. It's like, I'd take that. So I did want to clarify that a little bit. And then he finally kind of gets into the heart of the matter here, and that is that the military is doing these diversity programs. Which is why he wrote this book. So, Austin on February 5th ordered all military services to observe one-day stand-down on extremism in the ranks. As part of his stand-down, Lohmeyer said he was given a booklet that cited the January 6th riot at the Capitol as an example of extremism, but did not mention the civil disobedience and destruction of property that took place following the death of George Floyd, a black man, at the hands of a white police officer in Minneapolis last May. He also took issue with the Pentagon spokesperson seemingly to allude to Press Secretary John Kirby. Lohmeyer claimed Kirby said that there are too many white pilots amid an ever-increasing pilot shortage. If you want to provide that kind of message, you're already struggling pilot force. You can already expect to see further retention problems, he said. It's like, yeah. In a statement Friday, Kirby denied ever saying such a thing about a surplus of white pilots and pointed to Austin's comment made last week during his first press conference about the importance of increased diversity programs. I like it that I like seeing everyone portrayed in movies and TV shows that have good morals and values in them. I like that a lot. I like it whenever you have any race or group of people and they're fighting real issues. They're dealing with real life situations about how to handle their friends, their family, how to behave on the job, how to treat people well, how to handle your finances, what are good and bad ideologies, and why. And these are things, you're at least on a decent track whenever these are things that people can actually control. So again, it's not this bigotry of race, sex, color, national origin, gender, whatever. You have no control over that stuff. You are whatever you are. Wherever it is that you were born, whatever it is that you have between your legs or the color of your skin or whatever your genetic makeup is, if you have some kind of heart problems or whatever, things that are out of your control, if that's what they start talking about, then chances are you've got trash. A great example of this is that Captain Marvel movie with Brie Larson. That thing is garbage. She does not develop herself as a character. Everything just magically happens for her. It's called a Mary Sue. Rey with Star Wars is another Mary Sue. Now, it's not Brie Larson's fault, or I forget that girl that played Rey. It's not her fault. They weren't the writers. I don't blame them. I would say Brie Larson is a horrible actress, at least in that movie. I haven't seen anything else that she did, but she's like just a plank whenever she's just doing all that. It's just the same just kind of blank stare that she gives, and it's just ridiculous. The girl that played Rey, though, I thought she did a pretty good job. I thought her performance was good. And so from my understanding, too, that whenever I see this stuff about diversity programs, it's always targeting, or it targets white people, like above and beyond. I think it's about all that they're doing today, and that whenever people go through these diversity programs, that they end up reporting, kind of being resentful towards it, because it's this, well, you're white and you're racist. And it's like, yeah, I'm white, but racist? No. Where are you getting this from? Well, it's subconscious. What? I don't buy into any of this for 1 second. So I've said this before. Whenever my mom was dying from cancer, I didn't give for 1 damn second who had the cure for cancer. It never crossed my mind that I wasn't going to accept it if it was from someone who was black or a woman or straight or gay or white or thin or fat or whatever. None of it. It just was not a factor at all. So they can take all this crap and they can shove it. So let's go ahead and take a look here. And this is from Psychology Today. And in this article, they state 3 decades of studies examining hundreds of U.S. companies and interviews with employers and executives suggest that diversity training programs actually increase bias. Diversity training programs are designed to prevent lawsuits by policing people's behaviors, yet studies suggest that mandatory diversity programs can trigger bias rather than eliminate it. Laboratory studies show that people become resentful when they are forced to adopt behaviors. Most people resist being told how to think and behave and therefore will assert their autonomy. Bias cannot simply be ordered away when people are made to feel ashamed or are blamed for bad behaviors. They will lose their desire to change. The shame and blame type of diversity training programs ignore everything social scientists know about the biological need to maintain our individual identity and our preferences for people who are like us. It's like, and that's what I'm talking about. I don't care how nice it sounds. Is it actually working? It's like, I would love to get rid of this stuff. I would love to eliminate racism and getting rid of all this garbage about discriminating against people against characteristics that they have no control over. Absolutely. But I don't give a damn if it doesn't work. This is making it worse. 3 decades of studies. It's like, okay, well then where is all this information? Who's right and who's wrong? And if they have 3 decades of study, it's like, I want to know about it. Because if that's the truth, then I want this stuff stopped or changed or something. I'm not your puppet. No, just... If anything, this is supposed to be what the states are supposed to be. It's the United States of America, and each state is supposed to be a place where you can try out different things. You record the information. You see what works and what doesn't. This is not working yet. We're doing this all across the nation wrong. It's like, go ahead, try it out in a state or two, but let's try something different somewhere else. And let's record the results, and let's see what's actually effective and what's not. So I'll have links in the description below for these, for that video and for this article right here. Again, as I say time and time again, I'm not here to change your minds. That is not it. If you respond to me and you're trying to change my mind or something, you've completely missed the point. I'm here to show that there are these lies that are going on. The website that I am going to build is going to be based off of facts and evidence. I'm tired of running around in circles with this stuff. And I'm tired of this stuff being shoved down my throat with this. And there are so many things that we absolutely have a much clearer view of what the hell really happens. So an example of this is Biden wanting to spend even more money to just give to people, and that causes inflation, and everything's going crazy. We already know this. I'm tired of this. Fed up with it. If you're tired of being lied to and you're tired of things going down and being worse instead of being better, then like this video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, help me out with Patreon and Subscribe Star so we can start getting things moving. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and we will see you again next time. Bye.